It's the War of the Roses, Man United versus Leeds.
You doing a Sean Dyche impression?
Yes, it's just gravel.
United!
Hello everybody and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions for the round of predictions before Christmas. Is it a blind show? Yes, it is a blind show because we've hardly seen any of the midweek fixtures, including the game between Liverpool and Spurs. If you don't like it, come at us. Come on, come at us on all of our platforms and we will hide like the snivering cowards that we are. Who's the real winner so far? Slaven Bilic, Thomas. Do you know why? Huge payday and Christmas off. Anyway, we'll get to that in a bit. Timestamps down below, as always. On the chapters feature as well. Never use it. Go check out our affiliate links. If you want to buy anything over Christmas on Amazon, hit that link down in the description. Gives us a few extra pennies, gives you, but no extra charge to you. The same for an Audible free subscription as well. Go check out Grandstand Bellas. They're a superb tips to website, except for the things we tip for them. We can't even get Manchester City winning a game. And without further ado, we'll get back to who's won what in predictions at a later date. Let's jump into this, Thomas. Hit me with the first match.
It's a good old London derby as Chelsea host West Ham United.
A Chelsea side who have come off the rails, Thomas. Off the rails. What are we saying?
Ian.
Lampard out?
All I'm reading right now is constant people writing about what a bad player Kai Havertz is, as if they've just been waiting for Chelsea to have a bad run of matches and be like, we're going to crucify over this? Kai Havertz. It's his fault.
Funny. It's so funny because I literally was going to ask you, trying to bait you, is Kai Havertz the worst Premiership player ever? He's terrible. He's honestly awful.
Somebody posted a picture and it was Kai Havertz, Anthony Martial, Alexander Lacazette, and it was like, which of these are worse? And I was like, I hate all of you.
but
I hate this.
But nobody's seen. How can you disregard him? He's so young, he's so talented, and he's playing the first time he's playing in a new country. Not everybody clicks in the Premier League to start with, but
also Chelsea are 3 points off the top. It's not exactly like he's killing them.
And it's also as well it's like everybody knows that, and everybody can quite easily talk. Take the emotion out of it when you're not talking about your team. But when it's your team, you almost have to find that reason. You have to find that excuse. People were calling him the new Ozil. I'm like, for fuck's sake, give a guy a chance.
We both know that I have a man crush on Kai Havertz and think he's awesome. So it's just a matter of time before he owns the Premier League. Owns it.
I think we both agree that Chelsea, a couple of bad games. The Everton game, how they didn't score is unbelievable. Wolves game, how Wolves scored 2 is unbelievable. Because I didn't think you were allowed to score 2 past Mendy, but they found a way.
It's against the rules.
But this isn't going to be easy because Hammers are pretty good, Thomas. Pretty good.
West Ham are on a great run of form. It makes me sad we haven't seen the Palace game yet because I really do think they can win that. And if they somehow lose that, then our predictions sounded totally insane for this. They look like a David Moyes side, don't they? They look really hard to score on all of a sudden. And he's got just really talented attackers up front. And I'm going to say this for the 1,000th time. Jared Bowen is a man. He's so good up there. He just runs circles around people.
No, I do think that they need to find a better striker than Sebastian Haller. He does not look like a Premier League striker to me. I scored a wonderful goal the other week, but he looked pretty tame in the last game I saw him in. But other than that, all really good. Declan Rice having a great season. Sort of proving. Well, I had doubts over him last season as well, but he's having a really, really strong showing. But this one's going to be close. I'm going to edge to Chelsea just because they've got to win eventually, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, literally.
What
scoreline are you going with?
I'll let you jump in first.
I'm going 3-0 to Chelsea because,
God, wow. Well, let's go over the notes. West Ham, really difficult to score against. 3-0 Chelsea.
Look, we all know I always back Chelsea, and in my opinion, sooner rather than later, they're just going to blow up a team.
Right, I can't go that much. I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea.
I also really thought you'd go 2-1 and didn't want to copy your score, so.
It seems a logical score, doesn't it? Like,
yeah.
But when have Chelsea been logical in the last few weeks?
You mean in their entire history since Roman Abramovich took over? Never.
West Bromwich Albion versus Aston Villa.
Well, Ian, I'm really, really unhappy about this because I can't actually understand why Sam Allardyce has been put in charge of a Premier League club, and specifically why he's been put in charge of a Premier League club like West Brom, who, as we've said all season, weren't playing that bad a style of football, just didn't look good enough to stay in the league, like man for man against who they were playing.
He's back, though, isn't he, Thomas? He is back.
Yes,
like a horror movie villain rising from the smoky water, the murky, foggy black country. Out comes Sam Allardyce. He's here, folks, to shut down any promise you have of playing football for the next couple of years.
Do you think he's going to sign JJ Okocha and Ivan Campo?
Fans, but let us know what you think, West Brom fans. Were you that unhappy with Bilic? Like, really that unhappy with him? The guy that's took you up, and I thought you were improving, as Thomas said, to now disregard all of that to go with anti-football until you literally get bored of it and then have to replace Allardyce with somebody probably worse than Bilic.
There's going to be 2 Newcastles in the league, and one of them doesn't even have the name Newcastle to warn me beforehand to stop paying attention. It's awful. It's awful. Anyway, Aston Villa is a Jekyll and Hyde act, has been all season. It's pretty clear that Ross Barkley, when he plays, really frees up Jack Grealish, and that's when they look at their most imperious. I think Ross Barkley's out for a while, so we're not going to see him in this game either.
It's a shame, isn't it? He just cannot stay fit.
Yeah.
We cannot get like consistent game time over a season.
With Ross Barkley as well, I think you worried that he'll turn into a Jack Wilshere as well, where he's shown flashes of how good he can be, but he's been injured so much, and then he's going to come back at like the age of 28 and 29, but he'll have not played football basically for 8 years before it. That it's just not the same anymore. He doesn't have that youth on his side. Anyway, none of this has been about the teams because we haven't seen a huge amount out of either of them, and one of them sacked their manager. So I will revert to type and say that Villa will win 2-0. Ian, your thoughts?
Well, I'm just going to read some quotes from the very emotional pardon statement that the West Ham board gave, if that's okay. It says the West Brom board gave to Bilic. Very emotional. A lot of thought went into this. It says, well, you hurt my friends and you hurt my pride. I gotta be a man. I can't let it slide. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of... Hang on a sec. That's Hulk Hogan's entrance music. That's not right. Right. Basically, thanks, Slaven, but we're moving in a different direction.
Yep.
And because it's Allardyce, he might not even be in charge, but West Brom will win 1-0.
Oh, gross. If that happens, I'll cry. Bristol
Palace! Whoa! Watch out! The Eagles are coming!
Because it's Crystal Palace versus Liverpool?
Well, surely they're coming, Tom, because it's Crystal Palace versus champions Liverpool, and that would be the only reason why the Eagles have shown themselves. Is that not true?
I don't want to talk to you about how much you always have to tell me that Liverpool are the champions of England. 38 straight weeks of my soul being kicked.
Who saw Liverpool beating Tottenham 6-0? I didn't.
I'd love it if that came true. In fact, Ian, if Liverpool beat Tottenham 6-0, you get 3 bonus points on week 14. 3. Cool? We have no idea what to expect from Liverpool versus Spurs, but I think we can all assume it will be a draw because Jose Mourinho only plays out draws against the top sides. Crystal Palace, I mean, who are they? Literally, who are they?
I don't know. Their side that just annoys me. It had a positive result on a Crystal Palace score, and then that just went completely back against me. How are they allowed to score against Tottenham? How are they allowed to do that? That's not fair.
Do you see Jose's press conference where he talked about the Lloris mistake?
I did, but we're not here to talk about Spurs, so we'll save that for when we talk about Tottenham.
Good point.
But I mean, Liverpool. I seem to back Liverpool to win 2-1 in every single game, so I'm going to back Liverpool again to win 2-1. But I am getting a little bit sick of Klopp moaning, and I must just say, I will talk about a Liverpool player. I thought Alisson was amazing against Fulham. I thought he single-handedly kept them in the game in that first half. He was brilliant.
I thought he had a really good game. I am also a bit sick of the Jurgen Klopp wine machine, but at the same time, I feel like everyone was sick of listening to Fergie talk in general after 20 years. So, like, I suppose I kind of get it. But, yeah. No, Liverpool, shut up. And I'm really enjoying Mourinho and Klopp's little, throw toys at each other from across the room thing that they're doing right now. Where they're, like, literally copying what the other one said and telling the other one why they were wrong about it. It's fun to watch. I've missed this in the Premier League. Keep Jose for life. By the way, 2-0 to Liverpool.
Right, let's kick this up into speed mode. Newcastle United versus Fulham.
Could not care about this game less if I tried. 2-1 to Newcastle.
I did tell you that Newcastle were luring sides into a false sense of security by saying all their players are going to be out with COVID, and then they go and
I predicted the last match perfectly.
You did that way before they came out and announced any of that stuff. Fulham had a really good game against Liverpool. Fans made a massive difference. I thought we don't know how they got on in their last game against Brighton, but if those fans would have roared them on in the same way they did against Liverpool, I expect Fulham to get something out of that match. And just don't know what to get from Newcastle. I'm going to go for a draw again. Fulham 1, Newcastle 1.
Southampton versus the City of Manchester.
They look really poor this year. They don't look anything like the winning side.
I don't get it. Like, I don't understand how they are,
talking about Southampton.
Yeah, I don't get it. They've been terrible. No. When like something's wrong, but it's wrong with like a billionaire? Like, a billionaire is losing money, but he's still a multi-billionaire, so who cares? That's kind of like what's happening to City. They're so good, but it's not quite working. But at the same time, do you care? Because the last couple of years have sucked to deal with this team. They've been so good. They've been historically great that you're just like, eh.
Yeah, they really, really just struggled to win games this season. That's 2 really lackluster games in a row against Manchester United and against West Bromwich Albion. And you go back to West Brom, obviously that decision was made about Bilic before that game, assuming that they were probably going to take a pasting against Man City, and they were like, well, that makes it easier to make that decision. But Man City just can't put them away. They cannot beat these teams this year. And whereas Southampton look like they could beat anybody. Yep.
So what, like 9-0 to Man City?
Yeah, probably. So Southampton do like to lose a game 9-0. They do.
If there's one team
every so often, but it's just so hard to knock back City, isn't it? Even though Southampton have been really good, I just think City will win. Aguero's back, isn't he? 3-1 City. Not confident at all.
I will go with 2-1 to City, but again, this is a bit like where I can't remember what team, Chelsea. I like eventually they'll figure it out, right?
Yeah. Like, they're not a backs to the wall type side. Southampton, like City would really struggle like breaking these sides down now who just put 10 behind the ball, whereas Southampton play very openly, and I think City might like that quite a lot.
The crazy thing as well is that like City are still in 6th as well, despite being
the worst manager in the Premier League,
without a shadow of a doubt. Guardiola, Klopp. Who else have we got? Brendan Rodgers. 3 worst. Ollie.
No, there's a new number 1 in town.
Sam Allardyce.
Bingo. Oh dear. Everton versus Arsenal. Be nice, Thomas. It's quick. Look at my background. I'm gonna look. Look how lovely and festive this tree. It took me and Alex ages to put this.
Ian.
Please, no, let me finish. can you just have a little bit of Christmas cheer and joy and take that grinchiness out of you when you're talking about Arsenal for once? For one time of the season, help a dying child.
Arsenal, you have lost something like 5 of your last 6 games. You are now only 5 points above the relegation zone and 6 above a club that just sacked its manager for Sam Allardyce. You haven't scored a goal a game yet. You concede over a goal a game. These are facts.
Well,
you have only won 4.
Personally, I didn't see them beating Southampton 7-0.
You have only won 4 of the 12 games you've played thus far, in case you're wondering. That means that you've lost almost 2/3 of all of your fixtures. That is a almost 60% losing run.
They beat Man United.
Everton, I don't know what to think. Again, one of these Jekyll and Hyde sides that when they get it right and they're all singing off the same hymn sheet, they're great. And as long as Jordan Pickford can stop, 18 different Chelsea players from scoring a goal, it's fine. I think Everton will win here. Thoughts?
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, we haven't seen Everton play Leicester yet, but I did just say they beat Chelsea 1-0, and that just comes down to the fact of them having a quality manager, doesn't it? A guy who can mastermind a victory, even though you've got like some star players out, and that really, that game really showed me what a great manager Ancelotti is to get one over his old Chelsea side. But what I am going to say is, if you remember a few weeks ago, Arsenal did actually go to Old Trafford and beat Man United. And when they beat Man United, they played really well. And Man United were really poor that day. And they really put Man United to the sword. And Arsenal, even though they've only won a few games, they have beaten Man United at Man United. And that still shows me that there is some quality in there. Even though it looks like everybody's just deserted Arteta, despite they've beaten Southampton 7-0, they did also beat Man United earlier on in the season. And because they beat Man United, I think they can also get a positive result in this game, like they did against Man United, and I think they'll win 1-0.
1-0 to Everton. Burnley versus Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Here we go then, Tom. Wolves looked like they were actually facing a really difficult time, maybe for the first time under the Spirit, but they did get that win against Chelsea. They found a way to score 2 goals against Mendy, which seemed impossible. But it has been a bit of a difficult time for them before that, and obviously a lot of that comes back to the Jimenez injury and them not having a focal point of the side. But Burnley have also turned a corner, and Burnley got a wonderful,
huge
1-0 win against Arsenal, and they look, as we predicted, once they got their players back, they'd look a far stronger side, and they've got that belief, in Dyche, and they know that those players out there know how to win Premier League games. And they're doing two sides. Won't be a classic, but I think I don't know. What do you think?
I love how we both do this. We sum it up, and then we're like, "Oh crap!" The other person has to say something first. It's like, "What do you think?" I know it's against Arsenal, and you're going to claim it's because it was against Arsenal, but I was really happy for Sean Dyche to get a big result like that. Like, if there's any manager in the Premier League, I think we're both pulling for, it's always going to be Sean Dyche, and he always has Arsenal's number. And they did their job perfectly, and they deserve the win. I don't know what's going to happen to them against Villa. Wolves, on the other hand, the interesting thing I've noticed about Wolves is now that Jimenez is gone, it's like Traore, Podence, and Neto have all woken up and been like, oh, I'm supposed to pin my defender and drive at them over and over again. And Podence, for me, has come out of nowhere. Didn't see him last year, and now every week I'm talking about how good he is. He's a bit small, which means he can't lead the line, but he's great cutting inside. I'm not sure about Fabio. Is it Fabio Silva, the young guy they have, who's playing striker now for them? Yeah,
he's a match winner though, Podence, isn't he? He scores match winner. Yeah. I mean, he should have scored in the game they lost against Villa. Which was just a freak result, really. I don't know how they lost that game.
It was so weird. But Podence and Neto, especially, they just seem to have like a good head on their body, and obviously with Traore. Even when he's playing badly, he doesn't really lose the ball, does he? Like, a bad Traore performance is more of him just not being incredible for 5 minutes in every game, like destroying a defense or something. Like,
he's one of those players. Even if he's having a bad game, you still want them to give the ball to him, just because he can do exciting things.
His feet move so quickly. His ability to like mishandle a touch or something, but still pass the ball before anyone can get to the ball. It's great.
We are waffling on about Burnley Wolves at the end of the day, Tom.
Okay, fine.
I know that you won.
Wolves 2-1.
But I know you also said Sean Dyche also has Arsenal's number, but I think that's the first time Burnley have actually beaten Arsenal. So it was an even more special result, I would say. No, I'm on a little bit of a Burnley trip lately as well, Tom, and I think they'll get something out of this game. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw.
Tottenham Hotspur versus Leicester City.
Well, as we said, we don't know how Spurs lost to Liverpool by that many goals, but obviously Jose's been stoking the fire. We'll see how that one plays out. But other than that, in their last game, I thought they really were a victim of their own tactics against Palace. They took the lead, and instead of going out to finish the game off, they just sat back, tried to defend, and ultimately they've dropped 2 points again now. They shouldn't have dropped. They've dropped 2 points, and we tried to highlight this earlier, but you're right, it wasn't Tottenham hour yet. But Jose Mourinho's comments where he's like, you can't blame the world's best goalkeeper for a mistake. Well, you just did, Jose. Whilst in one part of the sentence calling him the best goalkeeper in the world, and the other one you're going, but he made a pretty bad error. And it was an absolute Neuer in goal now.
Yes, it's exactly who they have. It's actually a Neuer, Alisson, De Gea hybrid child. I think it may be a robot. No, but it is a cardinal sin to have that free kick come in from 35 yards out and it comes right to him. And to fumble it.
I still say that, this, again, it is, but why didn't Spurs try and kick on and get another goal? Why did they just let
Mourinho's
I know they do, but that's a flawed tactic then, isn't it?
I think whilst it's a flawed tactic, it's the one part of Spurs' game in the last 6 years of them being a truly relevant side in the Premier League they've never managed is closing out matches and controlling play. And I think his whole thing now at Spurs is once we have the lead, you are in charge. You must hold this. We do not bomb forward anymore. We don't throw matches away. And if that means that once out of every 5 or 6 games, it looks like a mistake, you know when it doesn't look like a mistake? When you handle Arsenal, when you play well against Liverpool, when you play well against City, it worked in all those games. Sorry?
We've already said they lost 8-0 to Liverpool.
Sorry. Well, there was 7. When did the 8th goal go in?
It's an ever-fluctuating number.
Anyway, look, that's enough. Leicester have been really great. I can't believe we're not going to talk about them more, but you're right. We're waffling away. So, to end the waffle, I'm going to go 2-1 to Spurs.
Yeah, for the first time in this round, I'm going to back your score as well. In fact, I'm going to go 2-0 to Tottenham, not 2-1. I think they'll just get back to comfortable winning ways. And I don't know, Leicester have been good, but I think they'll be a sort of side Jose will enjoy playing against because they'll just come on to Tottenham and they can pick them off.
I think this is slightly off topic from there, but I think this season, the better managers are really obviously the better managers. When Everton win some of the bigger games they've won, you can see Ancelotti managing it. And I know the Fulham game, they're only playing Fulham, but you could that had Ancelotti's mark stamped all over it. Mourinho against all the big sides. This is just classic Mourinho outthinking his opponents. Frank Lampard has this insanely talented side, but he's clearly a bit young, and the mistakes they make are the mistakes of a young manager, right? You can't hold it fully against him, but at the same time, you feel, if Ancelotti was in charge of this side, it'd be a different result. And
absolutely agree.
And it's great because there are young managers like Brendan Rodgers and Frank Lampard and stuff in the league, but it's crazy. Jurgen Klopp, who is probably in his prime, he's stamped his authority all over that Liverpool team, and it's kind of cool to see so many good managers operating now in the Premier League and so many different styles. It's really cool.
You didn't mention Guardiola.
Who is he? Has he won anything?
Speaking about good managers, Brighton, Hove and Albion versus Chris Wilder's Sheffield United. 9
points separate these two behemoths of British football. Both of them, I can't even pretend. Brighton can't score goals. Sheffield United can't score goals and can't keep clean sheets. This has boring written all over it.
Just at what point do Sheffield United sack Chris Wilder? Does it get to 20 games and they haven't won? I know he's loved there, or not. He's not that loved because some people want him out already, but he's done a wonderful job. because it's a massive poison chalice before he took over, and he's done a fantastic job. But they are almost down already. At what point do they make a change?
I don't want to steal what you said to me before this started, but I think you're right that at about 15 to 20 matches without a win, you have to do something to try and arrest that, because they are on pace to not end the season with double-digit points, which is, it's so bad. So maybe, the owners backed him, which is always a terrifying thing. The players have come out and backed him, and it's not that anyone thinks he's doing a bad job, but you hit 15 plus games without a win, and something has to give, right?
I agree. We both agreed to that off camera. And as I said, if you go down, you could always bring him back.
Yeah, well, that's the thing as well.
Take that job back in a fucking heartbeat.
You feel like if the players are really behind him, then they might A, understand him leaving, and B, understand him coming back. So
and he's Chris Wilder. If they don't, he'll just beat them into submission. But
I was gonna say.
But Potter's been getting a bit of abuse as well. How he seems to just get plaudits, and nobody talks about how this Brighton side's not really kicking on from what they did under Houston. A lot of false dawns for them. It's a really important game for Brighton to get a win here against the bottom club, I would say.
Yeah, it almost feels like everyone going to Sheffield United now, if they don't win, it will instantly become a crisis for the club, because you're like, well, they can't win a game and they've only drawn one, so it's a free win, right? It's the tag done.
And the fact that Sheffield United, the mat games they lose by the odd goal, somewhere along the line they are going to get a 1-0 win.
Yeah.
Might be game 38, but that is going to come at one point.
I mean, it's really tough, right? Because you can't back Sheffield United without a win, so I am going to back Brighton to win this game 2-1. But Brighton look hapless in front of goal, and their midfield had a lot of energy and enthusiasm 4 or 5 weeks ago, and that has completely gone. They look slow and turgid, which is what they looked like last season for the whole second half, while people told us how good.
Brighton need roughly 20 shots before they score, so I reckon they'll get 60 shots here and win by 3-1.
Have they ever scored 3 goals, Ian? I feel like for 2 straight years I've been advising you not to pick 3 goals for Brighton, and for 2 straight years you love them to
and for
score
2
3.
straight years I've been backing you to say Arsenal will win, and you never do. But that's the end of it. That's the end of it, Thomas. We've reached the pinnacle, the final game before Christmas. Could it be any more beautiful than a return to the fixture list of this old rivalry that has been reborn this season in the Premier League? It is time for the main event.
Manchester United versus Leeds United.
Manchester United. How did they become the first side to lose to Sheffield United this season? I do not know. But to tell you more about that, whether that did or did not happen, I don't know, is your resident expert and Manchester United fan, Thomas Pickering.
I can't comment on the fact that Sheffield United managed to bang 10 goals past David De Gea and co this week, but we'll get past that in a minute. Sorry?
You'd have played Henderson.
It's the fact they put Anthony Martial at centre back that really confused me, but I can't wait for the clip shows that show the historic fixtures between Man United and Leeds, and they're gonna have Alan Smith and Mark Viduka. That is the most recent freaking match these two teams played against each other that mattered.
Wow, you're obviously forgetting the FA Cup game where Leeds did your boys at Old Trafford, but even that's quite competition.
Yeah. Anyway. I can't wait to see these clip shows because they'll mean nothing, but they will big this up. It is huge. It's a huge match, and it is really unfortunate we're not going to have any fans in it, because this is the sort of fixture that would be bouncing and the fans would have a huge effect on. These two clubs hate each other, genuinely hate each other, and it would make for a great game with fans. Unfortunately, with no fans and having not played each other in years, I don't think it will have as big an effect. Man United are terrible at home, so guaranteed to concede at least 2 goals as far as I'm concerned, because that's what they do at home. I can't not back them to win, because that would be me conceding my football fanship. But it's gonna. Sorry.
Can't show weakness.
Can't show weakness, even when you're telling people that you believe it, but you can't show it.
Look, Tom,
Can't
try
show
supporting a side that's in a relegation zone in League One and not being able to show weakness when they come up against bloody top of the league sides.
You're 2 points clear of relegation, and you drew with Hull, so get over it, all right? I'm sick of hearing this. Oxford fans, jog on. Anyway, look.
So you're only like 3 points off top of the league, and you're acting like it's like the end of the world at Man United.
It is. It is the end of the world, Ian. But the world will not end in this fixture, because Manchester United will play out a fascinating, exciting, excruciating match against Leeds United. There will be 2 red cards, and it will end 3-2 to United.
Right. A new section. If you would allow me to put my Manchester United hat on for a moment, and as I've got pictured proof of that now. Right. Oh my God, this is a disaster. I've never been a Man United fan before. This is a disaster. What's happening? Right. Drop De Gea, he's crap. Make Maguire, give Maguire a pay rise. Play Cavani, please. And you should have no trouble against this Leeds side. Right, I'm going to take my Man United hat off now. Tom, Leeds are struggling. Yeah. And there's people are starting to the fan base. There's starting to be whisperings that they're not too happy with Bielsa's tactics. They're a little too gung-ho. They're so bad at defending set pieces. It's almost like you might as well just let the goal in and not even try and defend. They are playing good football, and they're a great side to watch as a neutral, but the fans are absolutely petrified now that they are going to sleepwalk themselves into a relegation fight and fall out of the Premier League after battling for the best part of 2 decades to try and get back in it.
Yep. What I would tell those fans to do is to jog and on in any other direction. Leeds are still 7 points clear of the relegation zone. West Brom are still in the division. Sheffield are in the division. Fulham are in the division. Brighton are in the division. And if it ever occurs to you, Leeds fans, to turn on your manager, just look at the team directly below you, Arsenal. You'll always be better than them.
Well, I'm not going to end on that point. We could have done, but I just want to say one more thing. And you don't have to say it, but a couple of weeks ago, we talked about Bamford in the England side. And I talked about how he's always got to be a striker to constantly prove himself. Against West Ham, first seconds of the game, he wins a penalty. Leeds go 1-0 up. By the way, what a crap first attempt at a penalty by Click. He was so lucky to get that second chance. But anyway.
Unbelievable.
But then Bamford doesn't have a bad game, but misses a couple of chances. And all they're talking about on the radio I can hear is them saying how Bamford's not a Premier League striker. Despite the fact he's played so well and he won a penalty in this game, it's like, this guy, as I say, he's going to have to constantly, he'd have to have like a 40-goal season before people will think he is worthy of being in the Premier League.
The worst thing for... I've just decided I should finally do this. The worst thing for Patrick Bamford is that the top scorer in the league, DCL with 11 goals, the second highest scorer in the league, Jamie Vardy with 10. Then you've got Son Heung-min, Mohamed Salah, obviously. Then you've got Harry Kane, so 3 England strikers. And number 6 is Patrick Bamford. Alone, the 6th highest scorer in the league for a club that's 15th is Patrick Bamford. And he's being criticised.
I haven't given my score, so let me just hold back. Man United to win by 3-1, and let's just round this off. Merry Christmas, everyone.